bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria, Gumpers. It's Carl Monson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? Do let me know in the chat. You could also let me know how long you've been married, if you're married. I've been married twice. I've also married other people. Oh, and I've spelt mischievous wrong on the ticker tape. I believe I have anyway. Could you check that for me? Would you mind just doing a quick proofread of the ticker tape? And you'll find out that we're talking about getting married in Portugal today. That's why I was mentioning how many times I've been married and how many times I've married other people. I think I've done 3 ceremonies for other people who very kindly invited me to get them hitched. And not in an especially official way, a friend's ceremony. They got married and rendered unto Caesar. In the traditional way in the government offices, and then I was very pleased to be able to officiate, I suppose the term would be, wouldn't it? Or celebrate, be a celebrant for 3 marriage ceremonies. I'd be delighted to do that for maybe our first Gumper wedding. Maybe people will meet in the GMP VIP network on the platform there, and I will be able to officiate, at least buy myself a new hat. Look at this. Thank you, everybody. 5th of March, we celebrated our 18th. Well done. You seem to, I would say, looking at you and your youthful visage, Francis, that you must have got married when you were about 10. So congratulations, 5th of March, celebrating 18 years. 40 years for Andy, then the Kleins. 40 years this July, fantastic. And T-Duck, 32 years next month. That's fantastic, isn't it? Wonderful. Keep those coming, and we will learn more about getting married in Portugal. We have the O'Reillys with us, and they have 2 generations of experience of getting married here in Portugal. The old man, Bobby O'Reilly, I think did a bit of a DIY effort, he said, but no expense spared for Sarah and Owen, daughter Sarah, and we'll find out about her wonderful wedding here in Portugal and maybe encourage others to do so. What a great idea. Oh, and I know what I didn't do. Have you seen this video that's going around? This isn't Hawaii, this is Portugal. This isn't Scandinavia, this is Portugal. Have you seen that? So many wonderful pieces of video from around Portugal. And you would think on first glance, as you're guessing from what I've just said there, that it was be another part of the world entirely, some other exotic location that no doubt my mum's been to. If you tuned in yesterday, you will have noticed that she is quite the traveller around the world. A lot of people enjoyed my mum being on the show. We'll have to do that again another time. I'm hastily figuring out how to spell mischievous here. E-I, I think, isn't it? No, or did I get it right first time? I got it right first time. Isn't it terrible when you doubt yourself? I got it right first time. It's I-E on mischief. Oh, I know what I did. What the reason it looked weird is because I didn't put the S in. So I got the I and the E around the right way, but I forgot to put the S in there. So there we go. That's going back into the ticker tape now. Mischievous, I think, correctly prepared now for your viewing pleasure. If you can see any other typos in there, do let me know. Pete's in as well now. T-Duck's in. Francis, aforementioned. Andy and Coach Turner. Lovely pics of Coach Turner and Mrs. T, who we don't often see. Ian saying, Bon dia todos. In spite of the weather yesterday, we had a lovely few hours in Ely. In case you're from somewhere else in the world other than the UK and pronouncing that Eli or Ellie, it's Ely in Cambridgeshire, I believe, in the UK. The cathedral is truly stunning and has a fascinating stained glass museum as well. So let's have a quick look at the picture there. Mr. and Mrs. T. It's a bit wonky. It's like the leaning cathedral of Ely. Behind you there. Lovely picture. And you are truly stunning as well, you two. Thank you very much for that picture. We're waiting for permission from John to share a picture of another picture of the UK. Actually, the Heimbachs are over there in the UK at the moment, and they sent me a wonderful picture yesterday. Just waiting for clearance on that. Here in Portugal, we have Deagle. Ah, that's the one. There was a picture that was struggling to load this morning. I think this might have been it. Your wonderful sunset this morning in the Algarve, 7:30 this morning. Thank you, Deagle, for this. Let me share this with you, everybody. This is beautiful. Deagle, you saw the video yesterday, and I think he'll give us a call tomorrow, hopefully. Deagle in the Algarve celebrating. Oh, yeah, of course, we were talking about police. I should know how to spell mischievous. I invented it. Very kind. Not guilty, honestly. Yeah, we started talking about being married yesterday, didn't we? With Deagle, who's been married for 30 years and has been going out with Mrs. D for 35 years. So hopefully we'll have a chat with Deagle, maybe both of them on the phone tomorrow. And here's his lovely pic. 7:30 this morning in the Algarve. I think they are so glad to be there at the moment. And there's talk of a hot air balloon ride as well. So we want to find out about that. But can you imagine having a look at that wonderful Algarvian landscape from the elevation of a hot air balloon? Fantastic. I imagine. Oh yes, of course, Philomena had to go in a hot air balloon, didn't she, in central Portugal? So those sorts of rides are available all over Portugal. Matty's in as well now. Good morning to you, Matty. How are you doing? How's it going with that property purchase and the buying of your dream home and plot here in Portugal? Word from Deagle. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a very warm Albufeira. Let me put your picture back on to go with your words here. Very warm Albufeira. Been here a few days. Yesterday was mid-20s, blue skies. We have tiny sore throats. From what, the air conditioning or maybe the airplane. Think we're going to sleep doors and windows open tonight. Well, it's that time of year, isn't it? You've got that window, pardon the pun, of opportunity, of a nice breeze coming in, but without mosquitoes coming along on the aforementioned breeze there. So enjoy that while you can. The mosquitoes don't seem to be around just yet, but it's only a matter of time, of course, before those little rascals arrive and we start talking about which herbs to put outside your window and what to slather on your body to avoid being nibbled in the night. Coach Turner then enjoyed Ely yesterday and has a God Squad tip of the day for us. We've considered dancing, cycling and swimming as alternatives to walking and running. But how about other sports? Most are difficult to take part in as we mature. However, there are some possibilities. A good friend of mine plays walking football. Yes, that came immediately to mind. And there's quite a strong team here on the Silver Coast of walking football guys who got the call, I think, to Benfica to go and represent this area in the capital. So walking football, definitely an option. And others have just started playing paddleball. I tried that a couple of weekends ago, thanks to Colin, and really enjoyed it. Or was it pickleball? It was pickle, wasn't it? Pickle's the one with the plastic ball that looks like a great big golf practice ball, and it's not inside a glass cage, as it were. Oh my goodness, I think it was pickle. It was pickle that we did, but that's causing confusion all over Portugal, as both sports, I think, are gaining ground and interest and notoriety. Paddle and pickle. What's available near you? Do let us know. And of course, we are putting all of the videos, the old videos of Growing Old Disgracefully, not that old. We made them in the last year. And they're, of course, timeless classics on the GMP VIP platform. A few places left, folks, at €9. Bon dia, alegria, Gumpers from T-Duck with a deep thought. Oh, it's Elon Musk today. And that's a shame. I just took down the Elongate meme that Lord Gilchrist very thoughtfully sent to us. I would like to die on Mars, says Elon, apparently, just not on impact. I think he'll send other people for the test flights, I suspect. Elon Reeve Musk, Marmite Man Musk, is a business magnate, business marmite, and investor. He is the founder, CEO, and chief engineer of SpaceX. It should be said like that, shouldn't it? SpaceX with reverb on it. CEO of Tesla. Who are they then? Owner and CEO of Twitter and founder of The Boring Company, which I think is something to do with drilling, isn't it? Not just the stuff that goes on Twitter. Boring! Controversial, divisive, polarizing, and actually quite boring, Twitter. But I just cannot give it up. I go there every day and look at my little echo chamber to get a sense that my mind is broadening with my view of the world, when in fact, of course, it's getting smaller and smaller. That's what happens, isn't it? With that stuff, with Twitter especially. But look at that for a CV. And he must be a very well organized person and be very good at delegating, I guess. Before we move on from deep thoughts and Elon's there, I would like to die on Mars, just not on impact. Let us go to the Ancient Mariner. Is the Ancient Mariner about yet this morning? Can't see him. Maybe I should wait. No, maybe I shouldn't, because otherwise, if I wait, I'll forget. That is the difficult balance I strike here. When I save things, I sometimes forget them, as T Duck well knows, with all the wonderful content he pours our way. We like the dad jokes that occasionally get forgotten in the frenzy at the end of the show. Deep thinking, then, which we're not averse to here, despite our somewhat frivolous reputation. We it's a bit dark, isn't it, that background? Let me give you a Portuguese sky in the back there and ask you what's good about your morning. Oh, I've got a video to play as well that got forgotten. Yeah. So this is a homage. It would be an homage because he's in France at the moment, and a lovely photo there. And before I do this, let me just have a quick cough, because I'm going to read some poetry, a poem, and poetry by the Ancient Mariner here. It's a 1-minute read. In case you're thinking, oh God, Munson's about to read a poem. Is this the time for me to go and do a number 2 or something like that? No, it's a 1-minute read. Don't be so rude. My debt to Gerard Manley Hopkins. Manley is such a good name, isn't it? Especially if you're a man, I suppose. My debt to Gerard Manley Hopkins, the Ancient Mariners blog, which you can see, funnily enough, at theancientmarinersblog.com. And here he is with a beautiful photograph that what he took himself. A lovely sun, I don't know, a sunscape, I'm going to say. What's out of that? I don't know if it's a sunrise or a sunset. He'll tell me if he's tuned in. Beauty speaks to me in the language of belittlement. This is the homage to Gerard Manley Hopkins. You might recognize the style upon which the Ancient Mariner is riffing here. Beauty speaks to me in the language of belittlement, the celebration of my utter insignificance. Being nothing, I am made part of something. Oh, sorry. I'm going to start that again. I wanted to read something, not bigger there. Let me try that again. Beauty speaks to me in the language of belittlement, the celebration of my utter insignificance. Being nothing, I am made part of a bigger something. Confronted with my smallness, I am become strangely more of everything. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is a man considering his place in the universe, I think. And then ultimately coming out with a sense of oneness and a connection with the universe. I certainly hope so. And the Ancient Mariner continues to say, I've absolutely nothing in common with Hopkins, but I deeply felt respect and admiration for his literary skill and poetic discipline. And you can find out more if I'll pop that in the chat so that you can find out more about the Ancient Mariner's blog. Piece of a couple of pieces of beauty, his poetry and his picture there, and that's going into the chat now so that you can find out more about him and Gerard Manley Hopkins as well. Good effort, Ancient Mariner. Smash that like button and I won't ever get married. Famous last words there of the rather ebullient bachelor, Matty. Why is that, I wonder? Carl, me, Mrs. M, Mrs. C, and I got married on the same day in the same year. It's always best to get married on the same day and same year as your partner, I think, Chris. But is this one of those riddles? But it wasn't a double wedding. I got married same day in the same year. Well, you've got to, haven't you? Tell us more, Chris. Here, you're bending my mind. No sooner than I am contemplating my connection with the universe, with the Ancient Mariner. Now you're bending my mind with a riddle. Jean's in. Olá a todos. Bon dia to you, Jean. Lovely to see you here. Nothing to do with witnesses, Pete. There is no point in being married besides financial reasons, maybe. Oh, Matty. Tell him, someone, for goodness sakes. Yes, of course, we can share John's picture, which is fantastic. You won't need. Well, I've given the game away anyway now. But this is not Guess the Gumpers. And we've got a few of those to catch up on, quite frankly. But this isn't Guess the Gumpers. This is Guess the Gumpers location. Here are the Heimbachs in the UK. We saw Ely Cathedral. That's not them. That's the Turners with Ely Cathedral behind them. And more British heritage behind John and Pam here. Where are they? And who broke it? Behind them. Joao de Norte is here, everybody. And Pam de Norte as well. I hope you're having a great time over there. While we're in the picture deck and not wanting to forget to show pictures, look at these. Now, when Coach Turner sent me this picture and said, here's a naughty shop in Funchal, I'm thinking, I have never seen sex toys quite like that, thinking that's what he meant by the naughty shop. Those are chocolates. That's confectionery. You silly fool, Carl. And look at those, some lovely, suitable confections for our marital special here today. There's only one difference between martial arts and marital arts, isn't there? One letter's difference there. But that is a lovely chocolate shop, confectionery shop in Funchal. And it reflects the beautiful color, doesn't it? And luxurious nature, I think, of Madeira there. That's on my list when I go there. Those look delicious. Thank you very much for those. And yes, while in the picture deck, we didn't get to meet or see. We know we've met, of course. We've met Conk and Honey, but we didn't get to see him on the screen for one reason or another. We heard the cats, but we didn't see the owners. And there's Hank, of course, and James the Slug, waiting to meet other Gumper. Jim White was meeting him up there in Porto. Always lovely to see Gumper pictures. Thank you. Keep them coming in on 913-590-303. And while we're with James here, to stay out of hot water when brewing a pun, pause. It's best to use subtlety. Yeah. And you haven't shown me your natas recently, everybody. If you've got pictures of your Portuguese moment where you're sitting there with your coffee, whether it be a café, a bica, or if you have a nice mer de leite or a galão, but certainly with a sweet custody pastel de nata, do send a picture to us and we'll show your natas off to the rest of the world there. Thank you very much for all your pictures on 913-590-303. Wedding special at 9. And I've been sent now an Instagram link, which I think is prescient and appropriate to the discussion we'll be having. The O'Reillys, two generations of O'Reillys have got wed here in Portugal, and we'll be talking to both. Oh, very nice indeed. Yes. Oh, loving this Insta here. That's Sarah and Owen, the Kios, who we'll be talking to. Beautiful. Lovely. Okay, we'll do that after 9 o'clock. Carl, remember last year we celebrated our wedding anniversaries after the meetup. Oh, I see. All of us got married on the same day in the same year. Is that right? I forgot all about that in the excitement of the meetup. Sometimes after a little while at the meetup, Chris, the information doesn't stick, I've got to say, because it can be quite busy. So we all got married then on the same day. Did we really? On May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Oh, 2013. I know, because it's my 10th anniversary this year. That's flown by. So I honestly I didn't go in first time, or I had forgotten. And I'm so delighted to hear that, Chris. Thank you very much. I thought it was a riddle that you were doing on me there. Victoria Benson is here as well. All bon dia kids from sunny Portimao. Where are you, Chris, anyway? Are you in the UK or are you in the Algarve? Oh, I'm getting all of a mix up here with all this talk of how long people have been married here in the chat. Let me go back then to, so let's do the Ugo Nunu now. And these two are becoming a lovely historical reference on the GMP VIP platform. One of the many things that you'll get access to. If you're thinking, what was it T-Duck said back in 1982 on the Ugo Nunu feature? These are being immortalized now on the GMP VIP platform. Zé Manuel Jolie, what a great name. Manly and Jolie, great names this morning. Jolie Braga Santos was a Portuguese conductor and composer who lived during the 20th century. He studied classical music, but also electronic and experimental music. Wow, legend, another one. He was born in Lisbon in 1924, and died in Lisbon at the peak of his musical career in 1988. If you're going to die as a musician, the 80s would have been a good time to do that, I think, wouldn't they? You know, that's a kind of peak, I think, of great popular music, I would say. Has anything come out that's been good in popular music. So, I say popular music, great musicians are making fantastic music all the time. But when it comes to that representation, that cross section of music in the popular charts, the hit parade, did anything really good come out after about 1990? He was, again, discuss in the chat. He was a disciple of Luís de Freitas Branco, the leading Portuguese composer of the preceding generation. Jolie Braga Santos wrote 2 operas, 1 ballet. He's showing off 6 symphonies and dozens of other pieces, including chamber music and solo piano works. A street in Lisbon honors his name, Rua Jolie Braga Santos. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much. Let's squirrel away those dad jokes. Oh, yeah, and there was that video that I'd forgotten to play from VRSA. Somebody cranking a water mill, I think. Let's see if that's true. If my memory serves me correctly. Didn't play this somewhat abstract video, or did I delete it already? No! Oh, here it is. Oh, that was brief. I was hoping to have a sip on my tea there. See how much tea I can drink in 5 seconds. Let's do that. Oops, not very much. What actually happened there? One more time. It's people, not water. On first glance, I thought it was a hand-cranked water mill. And I'm not going to make a hand-cranking joke about that. Bon dia. Thank you very much, though, Catherine, for that. That's I do believe that's from VRSA, because it was Catherine, of course, who sent us that wonderful picture of the Pontoon Bridge going across the water there, which Dougie expanded upon with a video. And that was part of the set there. Thank you, Catherine, for that. What fun! A man able to crank other human beings around on a little Ferris wheel there with one hand. Must be some engineering that Elon Musk would understand going on there. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz quinta a todos. Como va? Coisas. How are things then? Says James. And bom dia, alegria a todos. Feliz quinta-feira. Like that smash button. Now, I had myself a funny linguistic do yesterday. I've had my hair cut. You might have noticed. Have you been saying to yourself, if not putting it into the chat, Carl, you've done something. Looking great, mate. I might not trim this beard after all, and just I've got my top bit done, got my barnet done yesterday, and then I booked a haircut for my 2 lads. Now, did she say trej or tresh? Because that's one of these possible difficulties you can get yourself into with the Portuguese language. I was hoping for 3, which I was in the, if I'm saying 3 o'clock in England, I'm saying 3 o'clock. But here, it could, she might have said, she might have given me options. I think she might have said tres or tresh. Tres would have been 1300, wouldn't it? She might be expecting me at 1. I'm thinking, and I did give her 3 fingers, so to speak. And I think we agreed tresh, as in 3 in the afternoon. But as I walked away, in my mind, I was thinking, tres, is it 1300? Is it 1 o'clock? But we'll find out. We'll find out later on today. Okay, more on this. Can we get Matty married? Is it going to be a campaign to get Matty married? I wonder. Is it going to turn into that? We'll find out why he is such a stick in the mud when it comes to getting wed. Oh, the O'Reillys are getting ready behind the scenes. We'll talk to them in just a moment too. Antonio F is here. Bon dia todos. And Pete, what are you saying there to James? Okay, that's. I don't want to read the dad joke too soon. Andy Klein with a good morning, everyone. Yeah, and look at this. 18 years, 40 years, 32 years. Great work, everybody. Well done. And Francis enjoyed listening to my mum on the show yesterday. It's Bring Family to Work week this week, but that's what Bobby's doing. Ended up leaving halfway through yesterday, but watched the replay. She's a legend. She'll be glad to hear that. Fantastic. And from you earlier on, Matty, hola, bon dia, alegria todos, from a sunny Pombal Saleira. Over there, good news. Thank you. Update on the property purchase status. I have signed the preliminary contract on Tuesday. Fantastic progress. The originals are on the way to the owners and should arrive today. Nice one, Matty. 12 years next month on the marriage front for the Bleachers. Just waiting for Lloyd to help us drag the brambles. This isn't connected with your marriage, I don't think, unless 12 years is the bramble marriage. Because the early ones are nothing to speak of, are they? You know, your first year, it's the paperclip one, and then there's the I don't know, the cotton bud one. 3 years. I don't know. And then it gets interesting after about 10 years, doesn't it? Just waiting for Lloyd to help us drag the brambles, but homemade pizza for breakfast, unusual, and marshmallows on the fire for lunch. It's a good day. Sounds amazing. When I received let me just try that again. When I received the signed original back, I needed to pay the rest of the down payment. Ouch. Then they have 15 days to ask neighbours. Final deed should be signed before 1st of June. Well done, Matty. Keep us involved and up to date with all of that. We'll celebrate with you. Once the final deed is signed, the real adventure and journey starts. Well, of course it does. Absolutely. Victoria's in from Portimao. How you doing, Victoria? Jean's in as well. Antonio F. with a flower for you, Victoria, from a sunny Lisboa. And Joao de Nort, or to quote Winnie the Pooh, sometimes nothing is the very best of something. Deep thought from Winnie the Pooh this morning. Nothing to do with witnesses. There's no point being married besides financial reasons, maybe. Who said romance was dead? Honestly, Matty, come have a word with yourself. Being married is great, mostly. Bon dia, bon dia, from Sarah Yerman as well this morning. Good morning to you, Sarah. And sometimes doing nothing leads to the very best of something. We nearly misquoted Winnie the Pooh for evermore. Thank goodness you stepped in with the correction there. So sometimes doing nothing leads to the very best of something. Is that Matty and his getting married? I wonder. Remember, we celebrated our wedding anniversaries after the meetup. We probably did, and so well that I can't remember. I'm so sorry, Chris, that slipped my mind. Oh, excellent! My recommendation of the Ruggleston Inn on Dartmoor for the Heimbacks may be enjoyed today. Sorry to depart early. We're off to breakfast and explore the Dartmoors. Yes, have a great time in Devon on Dartmoor. Hand cranking, Pete. Yes, Pete will do that for you. A hand cranking, not a note, but a joke there. And Carl, that's such an old man thing to say about pop music. All the good pop music ended sometime shortly after I got out of high school. Well, exactly. I can't read some of these things that you put here, you rascals. Carl, we loved your mum. Yes, your mum was lovely. Fantastic. What a ledge. And Sarah's been married for 45 years. Oh, love is in the air. Everywhere I look around. 2 years in April. Look at this for the Gilchrist there. I'm a noob. If you want any advice, don't ask any of us, Lord Gilchrist. Look at the mess we make on a daily basis. But I'm sure we can distill a little bit of help for you if you're looking for help, that is. I doubt you are 2 years in. 35 years for the Heimbacks, beautiful. A haircut at Tres, and 1 would be the same. Yes, but if I thought she said Tres euros would be 3 a.m. and not likely you'd be getting into. Oh, I see. So we think it's 1, do we? Hey, okay. All right. I better pop along there at 1, thinking it might have been 3. Mrs. T and I were married in the year 2000. So we could easily remember how long it had been. People do these little marriage hacks, don't they, to help them remember. May the 4th is mine, and May the 4th is always with me every year and easily remembered, therefore. Have a great day, folks. Have to leave early again. Busy day ahead. Catch you on the replay. Cheers, T-Duck. Thanks for all you do. Let's give him a nice big round of applause because, talking about marriage, the O'Reilly's going to join us on the screen now. Hello and good morning. Look at you, Bobby and Sarah. Sarah, so lovely to meet you. I've met your dad before. Lovely to meet you.
You too.
How's it going? Are you enjoying your time in Portugal?
I'm sad that it's coming to an end. We're leaving tonight.
Are you? Yeah, my mum's going back to the UK tomorrow. It's a horrible, when you get towards the end of your holiday, you do get that kind of heavy-heartedness, don't you? So what have you been up to while you've been here?
Oh, well, we went to a wine tasting there the other day and that was delicious.
Have you got a recommendation for us from that?
Oh, where was it? It was in Azatao. It was the...
Oh, brilliant.
What was it? The
Muscatel.
Oh, it was delicious.
Okay, so you like a little bit of a sweet wine there.
Sweet, yeah. I'm sweet.
And as you tell, that's where is it the Bacalhau headquarters are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's a pretty impressive tour, isn't it? Around that lovely village in that wonderful place there.
There's a night art exhibition as well as the tour of the Quinta, the home there. Yeah. So yeah, it was great.
Beautiful little village. Did you have any of their famous cheese as well?
Oh, I think we had some last night for dinner, didn't we? Yeah, it was delicious. I have to bring home some to my sister because she loves it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, lovely to meet you. Bobby, how are you doing? Great to see you.
Good, buddy. Not a bother. You know yourself. The good side out.
Excellent stuff. How are sales going? Forgive us for a moment, Sarah, for a moment.
That's okay. Work
That's the
away.
important stuff.
This must happen occasionally when you're out and about with your dad, right? Does he talk about real estate from time to time with people?
We have to we have a little like a buzzer that electrocutes him when he's going on too much.
Okay, get it ready because we're about to talk about head to man. How's it going over there, Bobby?
Yeah, it's going well. Yeah, a good week and even a good weekend. So yeah, the sales are popping along nicely as we expected. I think we're up in the mid-20s there at the minute, so it's going really well. And we've got an event happening, a media event happening on the 17th of April, where we'll have the major Portuguese press, if you like, coming to an event there. Of course, you're invited to that as well.
Superb. Looking forward to it. I think I felt the buzzer. Did you just press the buzzer, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the important stuff then. The getting married here in Portugal. Now, I've been saying, is this right? 2 generations of O'Reillys have got married here in Portugal.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got married. I got married here with Daiva 12 years ago, but in Ballychem in Algarve.
Okay.
And we did a sort of a DIY where we hired a quite large villa. Ballychem, I think it had something like 14 bedrooms or something. And we had about 40, 50 people came and stayed in the same villa. So basically people were sleeping on sofas and pool tables and basically anywhere, but it was for a week and it was really nice. So the whole wedding was contained in the villa. We had got a couple of kegs of beer from the local, well, actually the guy who arranged it, that was minding the villa for us, sort of the caretaker of the villa. He had arranged a couple of kegs of beer. And then we went to Continent and filled up the trolleys with everything else, So
Superb. That's DIY style.
Yeah.
How does it work with the? I think we're going to be talking quite a lot about yours, Sarah, aren't you? Because yours was at a different end of the preparations and detail, and not DIY, a very different affair. But Bobby, how does it work with the celebrant or the registry side of things? Did somebody come out to that place and get you married there?
No, yeah, sort of, but actually we had everything. We had this usual Portuguese sort of hiccup along the way. We had everything ready a week before. We arrived a week before the wedding, and then the municipality copped up with we're missing a document, and this is everyone coming over like in 3 days' time to start, play the wedding.
Yeah.
We had the wedding, and so what we had was we had a blessing instead of the actual official wedding. Because the one thing I would say to anybody, if you're coming over here to get married officially with the documents, you really need someone on this side who knows what they're doing to take care of all those documents in advance. And but then a lot of people who do get married in Portugal decide to do the blessing in Portugal rather than do the sort of bureaucracy part of it, because it can be quite a lot. And if you don't live in Portugal, then later on it can be difficult, if you like, for any documents and things that you might need and getting updates and so on and so forth. So a lot of people that I found that come to Portugal, a lot of them come for blessing rather than, and to celebrate the wedding, rather than actually do the actual wedding signature, like your official stuff. So we actually got married in Ireland more or less the same time, officially in the registry, and then did our wedding in Portugal. Which is our official wedding, and which for us that's our wedding day, not the signing part, which was fantastic. It was brilliant. And so we had somebody come along and do the blessing on the day, and of course then celebrations ensued for a week, and just to 5 kegs of beer, and every one of them were emptied between 40 people.
So a good time was had by all.
Absolutely.
That sounds amazing. We got pictures, haven't we, from all the celebrations, I think, at various times. So that's fantastic, Bobby. And where did you find your blesser? Who does that in Portugal? Who does blessings?
Actually, I was lucky in the sense that I found a band. God, what's the name of them now? Two's Company or something. I think they were great. They were absolutely brilliant.
Duo, yeah.
They basically, because the bands that do it, everybody knows everybody here in Portugal with regards to the wedding circle, let's say. Yeah. But when I got married, there wasn't as many, say, wedding planners. Well, I hadn't really looked for any, and I'd hired a band, and they said, "Here, listen, you should look at this venue. should look at this guy for doing the blessing, and so on. So he's sort of done that. Now, when Sarah got married, she got a wedding planner and basically put her in front of all the right people for hers. So she can tell you a lot more about that than I could.
I look forward to hearing that. But before we do, I've got to remark on your sense of priorities, Bobby. What was it? Get a place, get the beer, get the band, and then think, oh, we need a blessing as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. Alternatively, you could get a wedding planner involved. And that's what you did, Sarah. So tell us about that process.
Yeah, so like with us, we did try, like obviously Dad lives here. So I was thinking, right, it will make a lot of sense because he knows. To be honest, Dad's wedding inspired me to get married here because I loved it. Like I think I was only 17 at the time, but I knew from then, I was like, I want to get married in Portugal. This is what I want. Like I always said, a garden wedding would be beautiful. But anyway, so when we were originally planning on coming over to plan stuff, I thought maybe me and Dad could do it ourselves. No, it was terrible.
Well, because he did such a good job, didn't he? Let's face it.
I know he did really. He was like, it's great when you've got someone like over here to deal with all that kind of stuff. When you, well, obviously I was living in Ireland, so he helped me with a lot of the stuff, but the things like getting photographers or looking at the right venues, like you do need somebody that knows the industry and where to go. So I came across White Dots Weddings, and that's run by Agnes Fernandez Torrent, and she was brilliant. Like she knew everything when it came to like the venues and stuff. Like that was my main, like I suppose the main thing I wanted to get organized, because once that's done, then you can start, looking at other things. So found her online, and she got in contact with me the next day. So it was great. Like she was really quick. And then we met up in Lisbon and had a meeting about, what we wanted for the wedding, what the budget was. Like in Portugal, I think it's much better when it comes to everything being under the one roof or in like the one package and kind of stuff. So she's like, well, if we do it here, we can see what the venue will offer. So it was great to do it that way.
Oh, how lovely. So you got some pro help there. And it's funny, isn't it? Because when you start getting planning your marriage, more and more things occur to you, don't they? So me and Bobby, for example, would just be thinking about going to Continent and filling up trolleys with fizz and stuff like that. But there are so many variables, aren't there? When you start to think about it, there's that, and then there's that, and then there's who do we invite?
There's a lot of stuff that we didn't even think about until she
right. Yeah. What such as what did she bring to mind? You think, oh my God, thank God she mentioned it, because we'd have completely forgotten about that.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, they're only small things, but like when I was planning it on my own, I was on Pinterest the whole time, and I was just looking at I suppose what's the word? The way everything would look, as opposed to how things would function.
The logistics, yeah.
And then how much things like even like table settings and all that kind of stuff, like florals, all the stuff that I would like, oh, I love these flowers, and they're like, well, they actually don't grow this time of year. It would be things like that I never would have thought of. I'm like, there's a huge plan of everything I want, give it to her, and she can tick it off and be like, well, that's not going to work, but we'll do this instead. So things like that, it worked out.
Superb. And let's have a look then on Instagram. I think was this another company that you worked with here that have documented your special?
Yes.
Okay.
They were brilliant. So.
Oh, let's play the button. There we go. Why is that running so quick? Is that meant to be happening, or was my computer playing?
Benny Hill version.
That was the Benny Hill version. I'm so sorry. They got these beautiful pictures here, and my computer's making a right old mess of them. Let's see. Oh, here we go. That's better, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it was lovely.
Beautiful. Look at that. So, which beach are we on here?
Fontadella.
Are you? Oh, what a wonderful place to get married.
Yeah, it was great.
It's Aroera as well. The weddings is Aroera.
Is it? Oh, special places. And there's the lucky fella.
It was great.
Beautiful. And that'll be Aroera that you're driving into there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's São Antonio.
The Policio dos Antonios, I think it was called. Yeah.
Look at that. Superb. Wonderful. Could you just tell us the name of the wedding planner again? Because until Bobby
Yeah.
suggested this, yeah, of course. What a brilliant place Portugal is to get married. It had never occurred to me. I'm talking about how fantastic Portugal is every day here, but never have we spoken about what a brilliant idea it is to get married. So who is the lady you worked with and who we can recommend here?
Yeah, so Agnes Fernandez Torrent, she was the wedding planner, but she knew everybody. So she was able to get us the celebrant, the photographers, the videographers. She gave us options and we were able to go through all of them. But her company is White Dots Wedding.
White Dots
So
Wedding.
she specializes in destination weddings, but she also caters to, Portuguese wedding, like, traditional people, locals and stuff. So she's great for that. But she found us all of the people. We got options for every single category, like so the photographers, and we went through them, and she found us our perfect wedding team. Videos were what were they? Liberty videos, and
That's what we just showed, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they're actually so they're not based in Portugal, but they fly to wherever you want in Portugal, or anywhere in Europe. So I think so they're Ukrainian, but they live in Italy.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, another picture from the day here, looking beautiful there. Fantastic. Oh, cakes! Where do we get? I mean, you're going to be spoilt for choice, aren't you? Getting a cake in Portugal. How did you choose your cake?
So like I was saying, the venue were really good. They gave us options. We were able to go for a tasting and taste all of the ones. Now I'm actually celiac, so I was thinking I'm not going to get to taste my wedding cake. But they actually made one tier. The very top tier was gluten free, so I got to have some. But
the idea. That's a really nice. That's a really thoughtful thing, isn't it, for them to do?
Yeah, it was great. Now they were very accommodating.
Superb. Okay, other wedding photos here. Look at this.
Oh, there you are, Dad.
Superb. Look at him there. Beautiful. Where this is in the Algarve, Bobby?
Bollycam, yeah. It was the villa in Bollycam.
Super. That was the place you hired?
Yeah.
Where you had your photo there.
Yeah.
And your rather moody and magnificent picture there as well. That's a great memory, isn't it?
Yeah. You look like you're in the mafia.
I wasn't going to say. I'll let you say that, Sarah. And with some of the fellas that I think emptied those 2 barrels.
For sure.
Right.
They never left the swimming pool. Those guys, you'd leave at whatever time at night. They're both musicians. How would you say? You'd go to bed and they'd be still in the swimming pool. You get up the next morning, they're still in the swimming pool with beer.
All shriveled up, but still hydrating themselves. Yeah, perfect. So can I assume then, Sarah, it all went without a hitch, or have you got some funny stories to share with us from the day?
There's always hiccups at a wedding. There's never.
Go on, tell us what happened.
Wedding. Well, like I suppose. So when we originally, this is going to sound mad, but originally we were supposed to get married in 2020. So we had everything organized by March of 2020, and then of course COVID hit in March, and we had to move the wedding, to the following year, and then it didn't happen that year, so we had to move it again. So originally we lost, like, whether it was venues or makeup artists, whatever it was, deposits. So there was a lot of that, but organizing it the first time was super easy. Like, it was great, but then obviously we had to change things around when we moved it to 2022. But other than that, then no, like, it was great other than the COVID.
You still had, I think, big question on would people still travel, because it was still a time when we didn't know whether lockdowns were still going to happen again, or whether people could still travel abroad and so on. Because like when before 2020, no one ever thought of it. Will we be allowed to travel? That kind of way. So trying to organize a wedding abroad, that never came into it. And then, if you had to throw a dart at a calendar in the world and say, like, let's get married that day, 2020, and forget it, So that I think it was very stressful for everybody concerned for the 2021 and even the 22 leading up to it. Like, people still didn't know if you could travel or would travel. There was still that fear factor, I think, out there.
Of course,
but it did, which was fantastic. We had, I think, about 70 people here from Ireland alone, plus a couple of my own close friends here in Portugal. So we did a great wedding.
Yeah. Oh, excellent stuff. So, a big logistical challenge there, arranging it around pandemic time. What about on the day?
On the day, so on the day we found my makeup artist had COVID. So
Oh,
it was fine because I'm a makeup artist, so I was always doing my own makeup, but it was just for the bridal party, that I had
right.
hired this other girl for. But Agnes had brought another one that the other girl had recommended, so everything was fine. But of course, like, I think if it was a week before I found out, I would have been freaking. But on the day of the wedding, you kind of go into this calm. It's like, oh, sure, there's nothing I can do now. Like, so.
Yes, this is it.
Yeah, but other than that, then no. Actually, when we were leaving the villa, ants kept crawling into my dress. So dad was trying to slap them out of my dress, and I was like, "Don't squish them into my dress. Take them out of my dress." But other than that, no. I think it was all good. Other than that, the food was really great. I think Owen's family are a little bit more not as adventurous on the food side, and we had, like, the theme of the wedding was Portuguese romance, so everything was traditional Portuguese food is what I wanted. And I just remember, like, we could see we had this table of his family sitting in front of us, and me and Owen were like, watch this now, watch the faces, watch. And then we seen it, and as soon as the bowl landed, we could see the aunties going,
What is this?
Here.
yeah, did not. I swear to God, it might as well have been I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. They didn't know what to do.
Oh, fantastic memories. Ants in the wedding dress, my goodness. And you mentioned you're a makeup artist yourself. You're a bit of a legendary makeup artist, aren't you, in your native island?
No.
Is she too modest to say so, Bobby?
Yeah,
No.
she's just been modest. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like has people coming up asking her for autographs and everything. So.
Yeah.
No.
I was about to do that, actually.
I definitely don't. I've been in the industry for over 10 years now, so I just have a lot of clientele, but it's great. Like, I do more than just makeup, so I suppose it's
She does all this mad stuff.
What special effects and so on.
Yeah.
So you're busy at Halloween as well, and other.
Oh, like before,
Right.
when I was freelance, I had people coming in to get prosthetic fittings and just like mad face paint and stuff. But now it's mainly beauty. I do semi-permanent makeup as well, so the tattoos of the brows and the eyeliner and the lips. So yeah, it's great.
Oh my goodness.
Busy.
Makeup's changed a little bit in the last couple of decades, isn't it?
Yeah, the beauty industry has evolved massively, but it's probably one of the most higher earning industries in the world, I would say, at this point.
Incredible. Yeah, of course it would be, I suppose, because it is a consumable, isn't it? It's not like unless it is a tattoo.
That's why
Yeah. Oh, they still have to keep coming back to get.
Yes, right. Repeat business. Okay, amazing. Okay, we have questions about married life here. We won't go into too much detail, obviously, at this time of the day. And cynical people like Matty. Been seeing too much real life examples. Thank you and no thank you. Don't need to kill the romance with a marriage. That's not necessarily so, is it? What is he like?
Terrible.
Honestly? Yeah. Greetings from the Algarve. Only 16 degrees at the moment, but getting warmer. Not too shabby at 16 degrees. Okay. I think Andrew, who got married in Portugal, and it said it was relatively easy, would be open to some marital advice. I'm going to be asking the O'Reillys here. Former O'Reilly, of course. And
yeah,
Keo now. I've got some Keo connections, funnily enough. When I saw your name yesterday, interesting. And so, yeah, marital advice, relationship advice, as I suppose veterans among us here. What would your advice be then? Let's start with you first, Bobby. Good marriage advice, and maybe helping Matty to think twice about getting hitched and wed.
Communication. That's it. Seriously.
Right. Okay.
Good communication. Talk. If you have an issue, you talk it out.
Yeah.
That's it.
I agree.
Okay. And you've taken that advice from Dad as well, have you, Sarah? That's the way forward.
Yeah, well, to be honest, me and my husband were together 11 years now, but we actually officially got married in 2020. We did all our paperwork in Ireland, and then Dad had the celebrant kind of come and then have a ceremony, but we never marked it. But nothing's changed since we got married, with us. We're always the same, moving forward in a positive way. I think as well, when you're with someone for so long, you kind of have to, it's not about trying harder, it's about understanding more,
Yeah.
you know, and being not as stubborn or dropping your ego and just relaxing. Yeah.
So it is an exercise
life.
growing as a
Oh.
person, then, isn't it? That's the option here, is that you get to grow as a person if you can rub some of the rough edges off oneself.
That's it. You
saying
be
there.
able to offload your baggage if you have any, and
Yeah.
vice versa, you know.
Okay, I think
Support.
Dad was going to add something there.
No, I was just saying, happy wife, happy life.
No, that's not always the case.
What do you mean, Sarah? I mean,
No, like, I mean, you can't. It's not about just making the wife happy. Do you know?
okay. All right, well said. Can I use that later on today? I will do. I'll try that later. It's not just about making you happy, you know. Okay.
But
More
no,
sorry. Go on. Carry on. You wanted to add something to that?
No, I was just saying, like, it's very two-way. Like, I know that there's a lot of stigma over, you know, who wears the trousers and who does this, but it's always equal. I think as long as there's an understanding, like, obviously not every marriage is the same, but every couple should take on equal responsibility, whether it comes to emotional support or, you know, doing the housework.
What?
You know, he cooks and cleans. It's great.
He's a good fella, isn't he? Well, say hello to us, to Owen, when you finish here today. There's another lovely picture of you there on Fontainebleau. And of course, we've not talked about your wonderful bridesmaids, have we? Look at them, little beauties. Here.
No.
Look, did they enjoy the day?
They had a great time. Actually, Willow was a little bit ill throughout the whole holiday. She
No.
she had a bit of a chest infection, but she actually powered through. Luna was great. She loved every minute of it. She was just playing around the whole time. Loved her dress and loved her little high heel shoes. So yeah, she was chuffed.
And did she say, "Why can't I have ants in my dress like Mummy?" Because I mean, there are a lot of layers there for ants to get involved, aren't there? That's a beautiful
That's
dress.
what I mean. They just kept getting into the bottom of the fucking dress. Anyway, sorry.
Your dad mentioned that he might swear from time to time when he's on the show.
Happens, sorry. I asked him yesterday. It's like, you're not allowed to swear at this thing.
Well, I'm just a bit slow with my whoops. Okay, then. All right. I think other comments coming in here. What's this? Where's your GMP mug? That is. Oh, I see. Okay. I've got my GMP mug and my glass of water. Don't worry, Raquel. How was your event last night, Raquel? I put on a business event last night for women in business primarily. I think everyone was invited, but it was a special focus on women in business here in Portugal. I hope that went well for you. I'm all ears. That was Andrew. When it came to getting advice, I think we're done there for the time being, aren't we? I think Bobby summed it up perfectly. Communication. Keep talking. And would you agree with this thing? You know, don't go to bed on an argument. Get it sorted out. Get it talked through. Is that important as well?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy to run into your room and close the door or slam it, but
It is, isn't it?
I
love doing that. I love doing that. No, I'm more of a sulker personally, rather than a slammer. I guess there's two types of people in marriage: slammers and sulkers. Okay, but whichever you are. Bobby, did you want to add something to that?
No.
No, definitely not. Okay, you always here, Pete. You have to make sure you are both always growing mentally, emotionally, and socially, and encourage each other to do so. That's great, isn't it? I have the Wife Good Books Credit Bank, which I have paid. What's this? Good Books? Oh, I not actually cash, but good deeds. Building up your credit of putting shelves up and such things. Is that what women still want men to do? Put shelves up? I don't know. Housework. That came as a bit of a shock there, Sarah, suggesting that the man might do housework, I think. Is that where Dougie's gone wrong, possibly? I can see by the look on your face that you might want to challenge Dougie here.
Yeah, well, I definitely think it's like we have 2 kids in a house. We both work equally, like, so I think it's only fair that we both do housework. It makes more sense to share the load rather than having it all topped up on one person. I don't think that's fair.
I agree entirely, especially if my wife is listening this morning. So tell us, before you go this morning, tell us more about your love of Portugal, because obviously you share your dad's love of Portugal as the wine tasting and the cheese and the beaches of Costa de Caparica right down there to Fontainebleau. You've been coming over here for a few years, I take it. What is it you love about Portugal?
Like at one point before COVID, we were over here 3-4 times a year. So loved it. Like for us, I suppose we've experienced different parts of Portugal now. Like when Dad moved over, he was in Alcochete, which is like a really small traditional Portuguese town, and then obviously going into Lisbon, it was all fast paced.
Yeah.
But in like, I think just the relaxed nature of the Portuguese, and then obviously being close to the sea and everything. Obviously in Ireland we have seas, but they're not nice. Well, they're not as nice. You know.
People do say this, that Portugal is like Ireland, but with better weather. Is that a fair comparison in your view?
I always think that Ireland would be the greatest country in the world if we had the best weather, if we had better weather.
You had a roof on it.
Yeah. But unfortunately that's just not the case.
Okay. And sorry, go on, Bobby.
No, I was just going to say, like, you do sacrifice things for sure. Like, for I suppose people coming out of any country, that there's huge benefits to living in Portugal, but also you miss things. Like for me, as we all know, the Guinness at this stage, but also live music. Say, for example, the Irish traditional music and even rock music and whatever, that used to be a big thing for me back in Ireland. I used to be able to go out any night of the week to hear live music anywhere. Here, it's not such a thing. And I suppose that was, and also the food. Like here, yeah, you have great food, but it took a long time to sort of adjust to not having, say, your Irish lamb and your Irish sausages and things like this. As you know now, Ryanair import them for me regularly.
I've heard about. Is it true, Sarah, that your dad brings quite a lot of Irish lamb and sausage back whenever?
Yeah, and steaks and everything. And actually, one of the conditions for a lot of my guests was to come over with
sausages,
or Tato crisps.
That was
Tato. We've talked about Tato here. Yeah, the legendary Tato crisps.
Batch bread.
Yeah, no, but I think the big draw of people getting married in Portugal is that number one, you have sort of the climate part of it.
You're almost guaranteed good weather.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
And then it's probably a little bit more exotic, I suppose, than the usual what we would have back in Ireland, the beef or the salmon, or I know that's probably a little bit old fashioned, but like I actually have a friend who has a hotel in Mullingar where I lived for a long time, puts on fantastic weddings there, and I think they're like 4 weddings a week, and the cost of them are quite similar to what they would cost in Portugal. So I don't think there's a huge savings in coming to Portugal to do your wedding, and especially then a lot of people have to travel and so on and so on. But most people, when they do come, will plan their holiday around the wedding. So let's go for a week's holidays as well as go for the wedding and so on and so forth. And you're sort of on a big massive holiday together, and it's always close friends and family. And you're like, what's better than that? So
amazing. Well, I thank you for suggesting we talk about this today. Clearly, very happy people, happily married, have got married in Portugal. And look, you reminded me there, Bobby, with your friend, organising weddings. I used to work at a venue that had weddings quite often. It wasn't at that same scale, but a couple of months, and I was involved behind the scenes, and I just think it is, Matty, it is an amazing thing to get married. People love weddings, going to weddings. I think we've heard some horror stories in the chat here about brides not turning up and stuff, but that's all part of the fun, isn't it? There is just something wonderful about everyone getting together, people wanting it to go well, the uncle you haven't seen forever, the aunties you mentioned with their stony faces throughout the ceremony, people you wouldn't otherwise see if you didn't get married. And I think it's just one of those wonderful things for human beings to have this great occasion, and have people come along, and what better place to do it than here in Portugal. So thank you for that suggestion. Thank you for being great examples of people who've got married here and had a great time in Portugal. Last words to you both then. Let's start with Dad. Bobby, certainly a great recommendation, getting married in Portugal, and buy your dream home to settle into at Real de Mayo, of course.
Yeah, so I think what a lot of people do when they come here and for a wedding, and the taste, the atmosphere of what Portugal has to offer. Some people are even considering staying here. And that's, even this week, my own granddaughter's decided she's not going back to Ireland.
She's 4.
Yeah, she's 4. She's like, I'm not going back. We're living here, and she's adamant that she's not going back. So, and she goes back
She just said, like, I'm not going to the airport. Just drop me off at Seth. I need to just sort out the paperwork.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, I think a lot of people first time coming to Portugal to a wedding. I know a lot of people who've come to weddings in Portugal. There's a lot of friends that got married here as well, and a lot of their guests would be their first experience of Portugal when they came here, and so it opens up that angle of introducing Portugal to the masses that otherwise wouldn't come here.
Superb. What a lovely thing to be talking about this morning. Thank you very much, Bobby. I will see you at the media launch. Sarah, last words to you. It was lovely to meet you this morning. Thank you for coming. Good luck with your continued career as a famous makeup artist in Ireland. What are your last words today? And sorry to hear that you're having to leave today as well.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just I'll be back soon, so it's fine. It's
Right.
always nice to have somewhere to stay when you're coming on holiday. So yeah, it's great. I'll be back soon.
All right, lots of love to Owen, to Willow and Luna as well, and thank you so much for being on the show this morning. Nice big round of applause for you.
Thank you.
See you soon, dear Riley. Thank you very much indeed. Watch out. Bye for now. Bye for now. Okay, so look at this, Dougie. I agree, says Dougie. Always miss a good UK-Irish fair. Oh, I thought he was missing a good Irish or UK wedding. Always love the traditional scene in Ireland. Ireland is awesome. I'll tell you what else is awesome, and it's great to see him back here with a new house I think he's purchased. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. Vitor, you bought the bridge.
I did.
That's beautiful. And I saw it for sale on OLG. I thought it might have been you that had done the listing, actually. But there you are.
I managed to settle for 2 croissants.
Okay. Look, we've been talking about getting married in Portugal. I think you probably did as well, right?
We've been to so many weddings, we've lost count. Like just at this house in the last week, we probably did like 5 or 7 weddings.
Right. It's that popular in Portugal, is it? You can't move for people getting married.
Maybe I should explain that. We've been going to some weddings, right? Friends and everybody around us is getting married. And so our daughter now wants to make weddings almost every day in our house.
Oh, okay. She's inspired and she's getting her little toys marrying each other. I know what you mean. I understand that. And that age
No,
group.
it's not the toys. It's not the toys. Like she whenever we go to a wedding, then all of a sudden she is the bride and Maria, my wife, is the she calls him the name of the groom of that wedding.
Oh, I see. Just role plays it again.
And then I'm supposed to throw things at them as they're leaving the church.
Again. 5 days running. Fantastic. Isn't it wonderful? The imagination of a child. Superb. Well, thank you for that lovely insight into your life this morning. Great to have you back, my friend. Our man in the north, Vitor Costa, back on the breakfast show. Good to see you live from Pontoon, in case you didn't guess it, behind you there. That is the Pontoon Bridge. It looks a little bit greener and grayer than I'm used to seeing. Is that an old picture or a new picture? What's going on there?
I think it is an old picture. I was just, while I was waiting here, say, hey, what kind of background shall I use from my very weird downloads folder? And then, hey, that's Pontoon. Let's use that.
Everybody should have a very weird download folder. Thank you for choosing something relatively savory.
You reminded me of my time as a tech support guy.
Oh, are we going to stop there?
It was an older man, and it was like the search bar was this big, and it just went on and on and on and on and on. All the kinds of pictures that you can't show on TV.
Okay, the other side of life in tech support. I'm so sorry you had to experience that, Vitor. People are pleased to see you, mate. Look, Vitor, amigo, from Francis in South Africa this morning. And Vitor, long time no see, says James. Olá, bem-vindo de volta. Oh, that's a nice little turn of phrase. Good to have you back. So what have you got for us today? I mean, we got some catching up to do, haven't we?
Allegedly, as if we hadn't talked in the background.
Vitor, what is that? Was that a fake cup of tea? Because when you tilted it, nothing came out.
It's coffee.
It is moving in there. So I thought you were coming from like a set, a film set where all the things were fake there. So you've got a real cup of coffee there or tea.
Oh, I see.
Excellent.
Maybe we should invest in some of those.
Product placement, certainly. If you're watching Sagres, Superboc, Beirão, any other number of classic Portuguese brands, we'd be delighted to decorate the back of our set. What do you want, Vitor, for when it comes
Chouriças. It has to be chouriças. We need to be sponsored by a company that makes chouriças.
And they can just be hanging up in the background.
Sure. I mean,
Carl and Vitor sausages.
We actually have a big fumeiro. Do you call it a smoker?
Yeah.
Here in the region, a company that makes all kinds of chouriças and presuntos and so on and so forth, right across the street.
Can you smell it?
No.
Okay, all right. Talking of strange download folders, I don't even understand what Francis is saying here. It's either an Al Bundy or an AI Bundy couch. Everything's AI at the moment, isn't it? Married with children in my strange video called background folder. Maybe that's where it should stay, Francis. So Vitor, what have you been up to? I don't think you had Portugal Door as your subtitle last time you were here on the screen with me. Because we didn't have subtitles for one thing, but Portugal Door, I think, is a new development for you. Tell us all about it.
Indeed. So we've been the real estate and the things we've been doing it from another company that I was a 50% holder of, but now we started our own company. It's me and the wife. It's a Portugal Door, and you can go to portugaldoor.com. We're still going to remake the website, but for now it has our contact details. It has some information, so it can get things started. And so now we're expanding more, and we're offering more services to continue helping people reintegrate here. We're being more active on creating some languages solutions for people coming here.
Yes.
So we've also been trying to see how we can expand, how we can maybe have allies in other parts of the country that we can connect to. Maybe you know someone. It's been going really well. Like, we've been learning a lot. It's a new company. There's always challenges and things that come up. The other company, when I joined, I wasn't there on the startup process. So now that we are, it's like, oh, we also need that. We also need to pay that to the government. Okay, I didn't know that. But things are going along well. We've been really growing, and it's an overall positive experience here.
That's so wonderful to hear. Tell us more about this language thing then. I guess you've identified that as a bit of a pinch point or a pain point for your clients. What can you offer in the way of language support?
Well, that is my wife's duty. I don't know if this is like if I should have signed an NDA or something to talk about this, but right now she's just doing some test drives with some local expats from here. She's going on walks with them as they talk in Portuguese. Maybe go to a grocery store and talk about the things in there, and have more of a practical use of the language, rather than, okay, let's learn the verbs. Let's learn this thing. Okay, here's a sheet. You fill it out. It's to actually be able to speak the language.
Very good. And that's like ahead of arriving, is it? You're getting people comfortable and dealing with that terrible fear that can be struck into people's hearts as they're starting their journey.
Yeah. And apparently she found out that her niche are other introverts, right? So that's also why she prefers having the one-on-one walking sessions. But
very good.
But I think another part of the plan is also creating this talk group, and maybe a kind of buddy system, because we also have a lot of Portuguese people that want to learn English. And so we would be connecting people so that, one side could learn English, the other side could learn Portuguese, and it would help everybody help each other.
Mutual win-win there. I like the sound of that. And you'd be making Portuguese friends remotely ahead of arrival. What a lovely idea.
Yep, that too, absolutely. Because again, like we really want to, we're obsessed, like our vision and mission for our company really is to help people not just find a home in Portugal, not just move to Portugal, but become part of Portugal, integrate, become part of the culture, assimilate with people around them, be them other foreigners or Portuguese people. And I think probably a good description of that would be, as a client said, I don't know if I talked about this on the show, but they said something like, we're moving to Portugal, not from America.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So what have you made of that? Expand on that for us. What would that distinction mean to somebody who's landing here in Portugal?
Right. So what I would recommend is that you're coming to a new company, to a new country, right? So things are different here. The weather is different. The culture is different. Um, the way people expect you talk to them and react to them and all of that is different. The kind of peanut butter you can find here is different. All of these things. So it's important to, before making that move, to know that you're going to have a new life.
Yeah.
You can't expect to continue having the same life you had before moving here,
Yeah.
because things will be different. And whenever I visit other countries, I'm going to have that very same mindset. Like, okay, what the culture is like there, what what is expected of someone, how do certain things work, and I'll still bump my head when I'm there. Mistakes are part of life. That's how we learn. Like, there's nothing quite like public embarrassment for you to really learn a lesson, right?
Oh, yes.
But that's what I mean, because if you come here with the expectation that it's going to be the same thing as the country where you came from, then it might create some friction, and it might not help you stay around for too long, or if you do keep on staying along, it might not be the most positive experience.
Okay, and here is Portugal Door. If you, I'll put the link into the chat as well. But I see a familiar couple of faces on there, as well as yours, Bob and Viv, who are on the show only last Monday. But that's the way to get in touch with Vitor if you need some help. And I need to check really my assumptions about you here, Vitor. As I understand it, your business model is still to be helping people mainly in the north of Portugal around Pontoon. That's your territory, is it? Or have things changed in that department as well?
So on the one part, yes, that is our focus. Merely because that's the area that we know the best, and that we can move to the best, and that we can give more direct follow-up, right? But the more we work and the more we grow, the more we know people from other areas. Like, what's most important for me isn't that I can just help someone by wherever, because I can do that. That's no problem. The thing that sometimes holds me back a little bit is I need to know that if they're going somewhere I'm not familiar with, that they still have a backup, they still have somebody they can connect to, they still have a way to start their life and keep their life going. For example, about, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, I went from here to Oliveira do Hospital, which was over a 3-hour drive in one direction, with another client from the UK. We went to see some properties. She really did like one of them, but the price they were asking was higher than what she wanted, so we ended up not getting anything. So we're still looking. But while we were there, I found this incredible couple that also speaks a lot of English, and they help a lot of expats as well. So now I feel comfortable. For example, if somebody wants to go there, hey, no problem. I'll give you their phone number. They'll help you out with it. We'll work together if necessary. I'll go there. But now I know that they in that region can fully support foreigners that are coming over.
Very good. So you would focus on Pontoon, and I think it's fair to say you have been responsible for quite the epicenter of inward migration into the beauty of Pontoon because of you and how you are and how you shared that part of the country. That's your local and personal specialism. You also have a national network, so if people are interested in other parts of Portugal, you can make referrals and even assist sometimes, as you said there, going with people to wonderful places like Oliveira do Hospital. What a great little town that is in central Portugal. And then you've got all of this other cultural, linguistic, personal support as a kind of concierge service, a little bit, like the service we offer at Good Morning Portugal, because we're all allies in this, aren't we? We're all collaborators in having in helping people have the best possible experience coming into Portugal in the broadest sense, and relating with the people they feel most comfortable with. And I know that that is certainly the feedback you get. People are very comfortable working with you and Maria.
Yeah, exactly. And the next two things that we want to do too is, one of them, we want to develop a system where, our clients can pay us a monthly fee so that we can be on call. They need a translation, they need help with something, they need assistance with anything. They can give us a call and we can support them. And the reason why is that we've noticed that some of our clients, they sometimes would need help, but the way they would talk to us, it felt like they felt kind of guilty because they thought they were taking up our time, or we were busy or whatever. So it's like, hey, you know what? You pay me this amount per month, so now you have the right to
speed
talk to
dial
me whenever you need help, right?
Absolutely. That's how it should work with concierge and on a retainer. Perfect. And that's a really good solution to that particular problem. I think it's really sweet when people think, oh, I don't want to bother them too much. I've asked them 27 questions already today. Question 28 is going to be too much. But there you go. You found a solution for that. We have a specific question about Pontoon Lima. Thank you for your comments on YouTube, Mr. S, from yesterday. You have a question
There are
for us
rentals in
today.
Pontoon Lima?
How bad is the rental market in Pontoon Lima? Does it get worse in the summer? I guess it will be getting worse, won't it? Victim of its own success and popularity, perhaps. So rental market, talk to us about that in Pontoon Lima, Vitor.
So it's the whole region, really. Like, there's so much demand and there's almost no supply.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I think there is a property about between 5 or 15 minutes, I'm not too sure, but it's in one of the connecting peripheries of Pontoon Lima. I think it is a detached home for about 850 euros or something. It's from a colleague of mine. I don't know the details of the property. I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I mean, some things can be found, but prices are going up. The prices, the prices are going up. There's not a whole lot on the market. And things that we do find on the market, they're either super expensive that you're like, okay, calm down, dude. Or if it's something that is reasonable for the current market, which is almost double what it was maybe 2 years ago. Even if it's something reasonable for today's market, it sometimes just stays like a few days available. And to give you an idea, we now have a partnership with ERA from Pontoon Lima. So we cooperate with them as well. And talking to their manager the other day, they have about a list of some 36 people that want a rental.
That's just one agency?
Yes.
Okay. What's the solution to this? We need to come up with some solutions here, don't we? I think one of the solutions, and maybe you want to talk about my Habitation, the recent and controversial measures from the government. You might want to bring this into the conversation here at this point, Vitor, as well. But there is clearly a problem. But there is also so much capacity in Portugal if people dare look beyond the usual suspects, as it were. This is a not a huge country by many people's standards, but there are still huge parts of it that are unknown and undiscovered by the incoming would-be expats here. I think that's a way forward. People are looking for too little, for too much in too few places. And there is so much more to Portugal than has yet been discovered and made popular. Would you agree?
Yep. And truth be told, I really started learning about my own country and appreciating it more when I started working with expats, because I mean, this is where we've always lived, right? We would go to Braga from time to time. I went there to college. I also lived in Barcelos. Viana is also another place that we sometimes go to, and the closest hospital is there. Maybe sometimes we would go to Porto because that's the largest big city around, and sometimes we would do things there, but that was about it. But now talking to people, hearing about maybe, Oliveira do Hospital or Tomar or even Lisbon. I didn't know that existed. Okay, I'm kidding. That one I didn't know. But Bragança, I've been to Bragança as well, right? Because we had a client here in Amoroso, which is like a beach town just south of Ponta de Lima, or rather south of Viana. And the landlords, they actually live in Bragança, on the other edge of the northern part of Portugal. And so I think we needed to go get the keys or something. We went in there to get the keys from the owner so they wouldn't have to drive all the way back down here. And then they made us lunch, and they're a lovely elderly couple. So so yeah, the solution to that is, there are other areas out there, but my personal challenge there is that I'll be glad to help you explore and to help you figure out whether that is right for you or not. But the challenge is I don't know them yet, so it would take some more work on my part. It might take some more time. I don't have connections there. But the other maybe solution for rentals and those kinds of things is, so for people who want to come here one way or another, one would be to set the correct expectations. So if you want to come to Portugal, then I usually recommend the first year, expect to maybe pay more than the market average, be willing to compromise on some of your requirements, maybe more rooms than you wanted or less rooms than you wanted, or maybe you wanted a detached home and maybe you can only find an apartment, for example. And so on that first year, maybe take that into account. And then so that when you're here, you have more time to explore, to see where you really like to stay, get the visa taken care of, and then you can start looking for other things. This is more on the perspective of someone who needs a home before they come to Portugal, right? Because part of negotiating with landlords and waiting for the D7, and then there will be a few months where you don't know if you can come or not. The other thing is, like me personally, my solution to help find rentals for clients, what we've been doing is, so first of all, we stopped even asking the other agents or owners or whatever for them to pay us the commission, because if we did that, then most of the opportunities would be unavailable to us. Because I mean, they have dozens of people that call whenever you post a listing on the internet. So if you were saying, hey, I know you have like 100 people that contacted you directly to get your listing, but why don't you get half of the commission with us? They'd be like, no, thank you. We'll go with one of the other guys that can pay me double. And so
of course,
that's one thing we do. So it allows us to private deals or even deals from other agencies that don't want to share their commissions. Then we remove that block. And the other thing is, we often call people, hey, do you have any listings for sale that the owner might consider renting?
Yes, that's creative.
And then, of course, keep asking people, hey, by the way, like we went to an event of like some other company the other day, and they're like, oh, by the way, who do you know that might have like a rental here in Braga available? Oh, I actually know a guy that he has this old person that wants to rent this place. It's not on the market. Okay, perfect. When can we take a look? So
that's still the way. That's still the way here. It's so important to have that word of mouth contact and access to a network that you'll get from Vitor and Maria at Portugal Door here. We're coming into our last few minutes here, Vitor, but you will be back in a new residency here, I am pleased to say. What did you make of the government's recent proposals, or would you rather not talk about it?
So in general, I don't really like whenever the government does things directly. In my opinion, the biggest help the governments can do that I find are the most effective are incentives and tax benefits to get private citizens to do what the government wants them to do. What do I mean by this? Like everybody's complaining about, the price of, properties keeps going up and all of these things, and everybody has someone to blame. But if you take a look at how much you pay in taxes when you buy a property, when you rent a property, when you have a property that's already yours and paid for and whatever, like it's a big burden. Like if you buy a property for, I think, 200,000, you're going to pay at least 10,000 euros in taxes, plus fees, plus all of these things. So let's say that you then want to sell your house. If you sell it for the same price you bought it for, that's 10,000 less because of the fees you paid. Then if you hire a realtor, which I recommend, that will be about 12,000 less. So you'll end up with about 175,000 euros for selling it for 200,000 after you bought it for 200,000. Which also means that if you want to break even, you need to sell it at like 15% more.
Yes.
Right. So when it comes to rentals, if instead of forcing people to rent them their homes at the prices they set, we're like, hey guys, you know what? If you decide to invest in the property rental and it's affordable like this, you get the tax benefit, or you get the tax break.
Now you're talking.
Or
that makes sense.
You'll be able to I think America has the 1031 exchange, where if you sell a real estate property to buy another real estate property, you can defer the taxes.
Yeah.
You can only do that if it's your own house. So if they extended that to, hey, if you want to invest and provide rental for someone, provided, it's a good property, it's in good condition. Yeah. Maybe they could even set extra benefits. Hey, if you provide low income housing and it is in a good condition, then there are these certain benefits that you can get as well. Then that can fix the problem a lot more than just forcing people to comply.
Well said. Thank you for your input on that. A few general points to bring in before we finish today. Last week we drove from Algarve to Sines on the the N roads. What we're talking about, the N roads. Yes, get off those toll roads. Get onto the old back roads that the truckers use. We loved the drive and we loved walking around Sines. Seeing different towns is important. Loving the country, the more I see of it. Yes, well said. Thank you for that, Chris. Going back to marriage, Matty. I think he might have gone now. He's not listening anymore, Andrew. But you're saying to him, marriage is an expression of love and commitment. Family is the ultimate commitment, a true Portuguese value there, I think, that we can share this morning. Besides, I married into Portugal. And we've the picture to prove it. This is a fascinating portrait of your marriage day a couple of years ago. One that will never be forgotten as people look back in the family album and ask you, my goodness, why were you wearing masks at your wedding? It's a bit like the big sideburns or the flares of the 70s, isn't it? That really dates the picture. Having the masks on during the pandemic there, and there you are, I think, in the registry office, and you'll have some explaining to do to future generations. And thank you for sending in the picture. You look lovely, the pair of you there. Fantastic. Thank you very much. That brought Vitor close to the screen. Couple of three dad jokes for you, Vitor. Great to see you again. Looking forward to your monthly residency with us. We'll confirm that when that will be. Sorry, those aren't the dad jokes. That's people talking about marriage again. Okay, here we go. You might use these later. If history repeats itself, I'm totally getting a dinosaur. I'm prepared for anything unless it requires money, effort, or competence. Okay, that limits a few things, doesn't it? And if it weren't for the gutter, my mind would be homeless. Come on.
Fair.
Going back to that weird downloads folder. Great to see you. Oh, bless you. Santinish. Sold to you. Any questions for our man in the North, Vitor Costa? You're too late to do that today, but he will be back, as I say. Last word to you then, my friend. What would you like to say to the viewers of Good Morning Portugal this morning as you go about your merry way in the north of Portugal?
Croissant.
Is that it?
Yeah, I guess it can be here.
All right. We're back in the UK now. Not sure when we'll be back. Hopefully very soon. Oh, Capricorn Chris, we'll look forward to seeing you soon. And make sure you're in town on May the 4th and we'll celebrate again. Sorry, that slipped my mind, Chris, but we'll have that celebration. We have an annual opportunity to celebrate our shared wedding anniversary every year. So come back and do that in San Martino de Porto. Vitor, you've been amazing. Go enjoy your croissant now. And folks, don't forget to show us your natas. Do please send pictures in of your Portuguese moments where you're celebrating and breathing out and thinking, yeah, this is what it's all about. Here I am, sat here in my beloved Portugal, having a coffee and a pastry, a pastel de nata. I think I'll send Munson a picture. Show us your natas! And we look forward to seeing them soon. Take care. Bye for now. I'll see you on the Expats Portugal webinar tonight, which is transferring your medical matters to Portugal with Dr. Michael of Serenity and the Dream Team session thereafter. Can you hold that grin there, Vitor? Just a couple more minutes while I find the outro. Let's give you a nice big round of applause while I find that. Take care, mate. Bye for now. Love to the family. Ciao, ciao.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.